From the moment you pressed play, something invisible began to stir inside you, because this message is not arriving by accident, but by a precise appointment with your destiny. And long before you ever worried about money, opportunity, or recognition, a hidden pattern was already waiting to be activated within your subconscious mind, ready to unlock a current of abundance that does not depend on luck, struggle, or endless exhaustion. Many people believe that wealth is chained to external conditions, that they must chase it, fight for it, or sacrifice their peace to earn it. Yet Florence Scovel Shinn taught that supply is never distant. It is only delayed by disbelief, and the moment belief shifts, reality reorganizes with breathtaking speed. You were not designed to beg life for provision, but to command it through a quiet authority of imagination, where every picture you hold with feeling becomes a blueprint that the unseen forces are compelled to follow. When you think of wealth as something outside yourself, you unknowingly push it further away. But when you begin to feel the calm certainty of already being provided for, you invite invisible doors to swing open with ease. The secret formula is not a complicated ritual, but a simple discipline of inner agreement, where your thoughts, emotions, and expectations finally march in the same direction. You may not realize it yet, but every word you habitually speak about money has been drafting the terms of your financial life, and when those words change, the terms must also change. This teaching is not about denying reality, but about choosing which version of reality you are willing to sustain within your awareness. Imagine falling asleep each night with a gentle gratitude, as though your needs have already been met, and notice how the body relaxes, the breath deepens, and the mind softens into trust, because this relaxed expectancy is the doorway through which supply most easily enters. There is no force more persuasive than the subconscious mind when it has accepted a picture as true, and once it does, it begins arranging people, ideas, chances, and sudden solutions in ways your conscious planning could never design. You may have struggled for years without results, yet in one quiet night of surrendered faith, the entire tide can turn, because it is not the duration of effort that moves mountains, but the purity of conviction behind it. As you listen, allow yourself to consider that what you desire has also been desiring you, waiting for your permission to arrive. Every disappointment you have carried has simply been a signpost, pointing you back to the inner world where causes are planted, not punishments or proof of failure. The universe is not withholding from you, it is mirroring you, and when you shift the mirror, the reflection cannot help but change. Let this idea sink deeply now, because you are standing at the threshold of a realization that could dissolve years of doubt, and if you accept it even slightly, you may soon witness events that feel so sudden and generous that you will wonder how they were ever possible. Yet they will only be the natural outcome of a new agreement you are beginning to form with yourself and with life. There comes a moment in every awakening when the mind begins to protest, because as these ideas take root, they threaten the old story you have been telling yourself about limitation. And right here is where most people unknowingly turn back, choosing the safety of familiar struggle over the mystery of effortless provision. You may feel a subtle resistance rising, a whisper suggesting that this cannot be real, that abundance must always be delayed, that you have already tried believing before and nothing happened. Yet Florence Shinn revealed that belief without emotional acceptance is merely a polite thought, not a creative command. This is the suspenseful edge of transformation, where you either retreat into the past or step into a future that has never existed before. The imagination is not a fantasy factory, but a workshop of destiny. And when you give it vague images of survival, it produces more survival. But when you saturate it with scenes of sufficiency, it reorganizes the invisible machinery of your life. You are not required to know how money will come, only to feel the relief of having enough, and that feeling becomes the magnet that pulls the right sequence into motion. At first, nothing appears to change, and this is where the drama intensifies, because the outer world often pauses just long enough to test whether you will abandon the new story and return to the old script of doubt. In that quiet gap, when your bank balance looks the same and the opportunities have not yet surfaced, something enormous is shifting behind the curtain, aligning paths you cannot see, and if you break your inner agreement during this stage, the whole arrangement dissolves before it ever reaches you. This hidden interval is sacred, though it feels empty, because it is the womb of manifestation where faith matures into certainty. The bedtime practice Florence Shinn spoke of is not a superstition, but a psychological doorway, because the mind at rest is unguarded, and whatever you impress upon it in that drowsy state becomes law. Picture yourself drifting into sleep with the sense that a generous flow is already operating on your behalf, that you are cared for, supported, and guided into perfect provision, and let that feeling be more real than the evidence of your eyes. Many will give up here, right before the turning point, because they mistake silence for failure. But silence is only preparation, the stillness before a decisive breakthrough. You may feel as though you are suspended in uncertainty, yet this is the exact position from which miracles emerge, because the conscious will has finally loosened its grip and allowed the subconscious to assume command. When you persist beyond this tension, the results do not arrive gradually, but suddenly, in the form of unexpected offers, inspired ideas, chance meetings, and opportunities that seem to descend from nowhere. This is the moment when the old life loses its authority over you, when you realize that your past was never a prison but a classroom, and that the lesson was simply to trust the unseen while standing calmly in the scene. Stay here in this awareness now, because what feels like the longest wait of your life may in truth be the final pause before everything changes. Now the final stage unfolds with a quiet confidence that feels unlike anything you have known before, because you are no longer chasing wealth, but welcoming it as a natural companion to your awareness, and the mind that once clung to fear has begun to rest in an assumption of good. You start noticing subtle signs that your inner work is producing outer evidence, perhaps in the form of a surprising compliment, an unexpected idea, or a small opportunity that feels charged with promise, and these are not coincidences, but signals that the current has shifted direction. Florence Shinn taught that the universe is obedient to clear intention, and when you have truly impressed the subconscious with expectancy, it responds with speed that seems miraculous only to those who have never tested the law. Yet there is one more delicate adjustment that seals the transformation, and it is the release of impatience, because impatience is simply disguised, doubt announcing that you do not fully trust the process you have initiated. When impatience dissolves, gratitude rises naturally, not as forced politeness, but as recognition that life is already rearranging itself in your favor. You may begin to feel lighter, as though a burden has been lifted that you did not even know you were carrying, and this emotional lightness is not a side effect, but the very condition that allows provision to circulate freely. In this new state, you do not measure your worth by numbers or titles, but by the steadiness of your inner peace, and paradoxically, that peace becomes the very magnet that draws greater resources into your experience. You understand now that the hidden key to destiny change was never hidden at all, but overlooked, resting quietly in the simple decision to agree with abundance rather than argue with it. There will still be moments when the old narrative attempts to resurface, when a bill arrives or a plan falls through and the familiar anxiety tries to reclaim its throne. But you have crossed a threshold that cannot be uncrossed, because you have seen that imagination, feeling, and faith are not separate tools, but a single creative force. Each time you reaffirm this truth, even silently, you deepen the groove of prosperity within your consciousness, making the flow more effortless, more continuous, and more expansive. You no longer beg for change, but expect it, and expectation is the royal road to manifestation. What once felt like a mysterious secret has become a personal practice, a nightly ritual of trust, a daily posture of calm authority, and a lifelong conversation with the unseen that now speaks back in tangible form. You realize that wealth is not a destination, but a relationship, one that grows healthier the more you nurture it with respect, clarity, and confidence. As this awareness stabilizes, your world begins to reflect it with increasing precision, and the sudden wealth, unlimited provision, and destiny change you once wondered about are no longer abstract promises, but lived experiences, unfolding one perfect event at a time. Carry this knowing with you beyond this moment, into your choices, your words, and your silent expectations, because you are no longer a spectator in your life, but a conscious participant in its design, and the more gently you hold this power, the more generously it will serve you. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.